Welcome to Giant Redwood, where steel beasts tame the forest. Skidders, crushers, and harvesters meet danger head-on. This is industrial forestry, raw and real. Deep in the heart of the timber yard, the PTH 1400-1000 stands like an iron giant waiting to feed. To the untrained eye, it's just another chipper. But step closer, and you'll feel the power humming through its heavy steel frame. This is where entire trees are devoured, stripped, and ground into sawdust as fine as powder. Fresh logs, tangled branches, even gnarled stumps, the PTH 1400-1000 chews through them all. Its massive intake rollers grip and pull the timber inward. Inside, rows of razor-sharp blades and hammers spin at relentless speed, breaking down fiber and bark in a single pass. The result? Consistent, clean sawdust, perfect for biomass fuel, wood pellets, or high-grade board production. Operators love its high throughput, up to dozens of tons an hour, and its adjustable screens that ensure the final product is just the right size. But this beast demands respect. A hidden piece of scrap metal or a stubborn stone can send sparks flying or chip a blade in seconds. That's why a vigilant crew always checks every log and clears debris before the grinder roars to life. Mounted on a sturdy chassis, the PTH 1400-1000 can be towed right into the forest or set up at a central yard. Its robust engine hums steadily, feeding conveyors carry the finished sawdust to waiting trucks, and nothing goes to waste. Every branch, every twig, every splinter is turned into something useful. When dusk falls and the yard grows quiet, you can still smell the sharp scent of fresh pine in the air. The proof that today's harvest has been reduced, reused, and made ready for tomorrow's needs. It's not just a machine, it's a promise: maximum efficiency, minimal waste, and a forest managed with care. That's the PTH 1400-1000, where raw nature meets unstoppable steel. Deep in the yard, where old stumps, tangled roots, and stubborn logs pile up like nature's final barricade, the Comptech Crambo 6000 waits. It doesn't roar like a chainsaw or slice like a chipper. Instead, it tears wood apart from the inside out, turning the toughest root balls into fine, usable mulch. Look closer at its twin slow-speed drums, lined with heavy-duty teeth. As the stumps drop in, the drums counter-rotate, grabbing, splitting, and shredding roots that have held firm for decades. Stones, dirt, and hidden debris. The Crambo 6000 shrugs it off, its teeth moving slow but strong, preventing jams and minimizing flying debris. This isn't speed, it's sheer, unstoppable torque. Operators favor the Crambo 6000 because it handles the messiest, gnarliest material with ease. Unlike high-speed grinders that send shards flying, this beast keeps dust and noise down. Its adjustable screen baskets let you choose the output size: coarse chips for biomass boilers or fine mulch for landscaping and compost. But don't be fooled by the slower spin. One slit near the feed rollers, one hidden scrap of metal, and the teeth can bite back hard. That's why operators watch every log, every root tangle, clearing out big stones and old metal before the machine starts its meal. Mounted on heavy tracks, the Comptech Crambo 6000 crawls where it's needed. From log yards to storm cleanup sites, it swallows tangled blowdowns, hurricane debris, uprooted stumps, and reduces it all to neat piles ready for reuse. When dusk falls, the only evidence of a day's work is the sweet, earthy scent of fresh mulch and the steady hum of conveyors carrying away what once clogged roadsides and fields. No log too twisted, no root too stubborn. The Crambo 6000 turns chaos into order, one bite at a time. In the world of stump grinders, it's not just a machine, it's the last word on raw grinding power. That's the Comptech Crambo 6000. When the forest fights back, this beast fights hard. Deep in the scrapyard, the roar of the scrap metal shredder drowns out everything else. Cars, old beams, twisted pipes, nothing escapes its spinning hammers and massive rotating drums. The machine bites down on rusted steel, chewing it into jagged chunks ready for melting and rebirth. Magnets sort out stray pieces, filters catch hidden debris, sparks fly when the teeth hit hardened bolts or buried rebar. But each pass means less waste, less landfill, and more metal reclaimed for tomorrow's roads, bridges, and machines. A single mistake, a gas tank left unchecked, a pressurized can hidden in the scrap, can turn this steel giant into a firestorm. That's why every load is scanned, every operator stays alert. In the end, it's brutal but beautiful. Raw power that breaks the old down so the new can rise. Long before the hum of hydraulics and the push of a lever, splitting wood was a test of muscle and grit. Generations swung heavy axes and mauls through bitter cold, each swing cracking frozen rounds to feed the stove through the winter. The work was slow, back-breaking, and dangerous. But it was life. Today, the automatic hydraulic log splitter stands where the axe once reigned. It doesn't swing, it presses, with a steady, unstoppable force that no knot or gnarl can resist. A single push of the control sends the steel wedge sliding forward, biting into the toughest logs like butter, no matter if it's fresh-cut oak, stubborn elm, or twisted pine. If it fits on the cradle, it's gonna split. Operators love the way the splitter saves time. What took hours with a maul now takes minutes. The hydraulic piston glides back and forth, relentless and calm, each log falling neatly into halves, then quarters, then the perfect size for the wood stove or fireplace. And with an automatic return, the machine is ready for the next round before you even bend down to pick up another log. But the splitter demands respect. That slow, smooth motion hides a crushing force that can snap a wrist or worse if you forget where your hands are. A hidden nail or metal rod can shatter blades or send shards flying. That's why old hands always check each round, brush off dirt, and stand clear of the splitting zone. No shortcut is worth a crushed finger. A crushed. Modern hydraulic splitters come in all shapes and sizes. Some sit in the yard, fed by hand. Others mount to tractors or ATVs pulled deep into the forest where the trees fall. The largest units run conveyors, auto feeders, and multi-blade wedges that turn whole tree trunks into perfect stacks of firewood in a single pass. When the winter wind picks up and the wood pile starts to shrink, there's a comfort in knowing that this iron helper stands ready. You can almost hear the hiss of the hydraulic pump and the crack of each split echoing through the yard. A stack of fresh logs beside the barn, the sharp scent of split pine in the air. It's more than just work. It's warmth, security, and a promise that no one goes cold tonight. So when you see that wedge slide through the heart of an old oak round, remember, it's more than metal and oil. It's the old way, made safer, faster, and kinder on aging backs and shoulders. That's the power of the automatic hydraulic log splitter, breaking timber, preserving tradition, and keeping the fire alive. Picture the edge of a rugged forest where ancient pines and thick hardwoods stand like sentinels. Crawling through this wilderness is a tracked excavator, but at its boom's end is no simple bucket. It's the QB3500, a powerful cutting and debarking head built to tackle the forest's toughest giants. With its razor-sharp saw blade, the QB3500 bites through a tree's base in seconds. The feed rollers grip the trunk tight, lifting and tilting it before it ever hits the forest floor. Then come the heavy-duty knives, hydraulically driven arms that glide down the length of the trunk, peeling away thick bark and stubborn branches in one clean sweep. It's not just about speed. This machine delivers precision, stripping timber down to uniform logs that are ready for transport or the mill. Operators can adjust feed speeds and cutting pressure on the fly, handling knotty hardwoods or softer pulpwood with the same steady force. But this kind of raw power demands constant respect. Hidden metal buried in old trees, twisted grain, or a simple misstep in the cab can cause jams or damage blades. That's why seasoned operators stay sharp. Every hum of the saw and squeal of the feed rollers tells a story about the wood they're handling. When mounted on a rugged excavator, the QB3500 goes where wheeled harvesters can't. Steep slopes, dense stands, muddy clearings. At the end of the day, what once stood as tangled trunks and bark-strewn debris lies stacked in neat piles, bark-free and ready for the mill. The QB3500 doesn't just cut, it transforms. A single pass through this steel giant turns rough timber into valuable logs, proving once again that in the battle between nature and iron, the right machine makes all the difference. Before we move on, let me pause for a moment. I know we spend a little extra time deep in the forest with the QB3500 in that mighty excavator arm. But when you see steel teeth strip bark and limbs like that, it's easy to get carried away. Now let's shift gears to what's left behind, the stubborn stumps and buried root balls that no harvester can touch. This is where the stump grinder comes in, spinning its heavy disc teeth right down into the soil, pulverizing wood and roots into mulch and sawdust. It's the final step that clears the ground for new growth. Proof that in the world of forestry, no job is ever truly finished until every stump is gone. Picture a freshly logged stand of timber in massive trunks stacked like sleeping giants waiting to make their final journey. But getting them from the forest to the mill is a story of its own, one full of challenges that even the toughest skidders and high-horsepower trucks can't always conquer. On steep slopes and muddy trails, powerful skidders drag ton after ton of freshly cut logs, tires clawing at the ground for traction. It looks easy from afar, but one slick patch of clay or a hidden boulder can flip a load in seconds. The operator sits in a vibrating cab, eyes flicking between mirrors, gauges, and the tangle of logs swinging behind. Then come the logging trucks. Monstrous machines with engines that rumble like thunder. Their drivers must navigate winding mountain roads, narrow switchbacks, and rickety old bridges built long before these giants existed. A single misjudged turn, a shifting load, or a sudden downpour can send a whole rig sliding sideways into a ravine. Breakdowns are common. A broken axle miles from a paved road means hours, sometimes days, waiting for a recovery crew. Chains must be thrown on tires to crawl out of deep snow or thick mud. In heavy rain, washed-out roads turn timber holes into a gamble between profit and peril. But the real challenge isn't always the machines, it's the weight of responsibility. Every load must be balanced, every chain tightened. A loose log can break free on a steep descent, tearing through whatever lies in its path. That's why veteran drivers and operators work as a team, checking, double-checking, and never taking shortcuts. At the end of a long day, when the last load rolls onto the mill scale, there's pride behind the mud-caked faces and scarred knuckles. Because every board, every beam, every plank of timber begins with someone brave enough to haul the forest out, mile after mile, in weather that never forgives a mistake. The forest may fall to the saw, but it takes iron, grit, and a steady hand to move it from stump to mill. That's timber transport, raw, risky, and relentless.